What's up, YouTube? It's Josh Bilal, back again with your favorite YouTube series of all time, Tales from the Jungle. Number 12, the day I was finally released from federal prison. So as many of you probably know, I served a total of 1,795 days on my very first prison sentence. I got arrested October 8th of 2012 when the FBI, the SWAT team, the dogs, and the boys all showed up and crawled all over my house and arrested me in pursuit of a search warrant and seizure warrant for items on my property, which included every internet storage device that we had, phones, etc. And I was released on September 7th of 2017. Now, society changed a lot during that time while I was gone. One way that I like to put it is that I basically went into a time machine where I went 5 years in the future, but it felt like 10 years. It was like a slow-mo time machine, you know? 10 years later, it was 5 years in the future, so that's why I still look like I'm 16, even though I was 19 when I got arrested anyways. But today we will talk about what is one of the most glorious dopamine flood days of my life, which is when I got released from federal prison, September 7th, 2017. Now, I got myself into a spot of trouble at the medium-high security prison that I was at the end of my first sentence, which was Marianna, Florida. I originally transferred there in a drug rehabilitation program they have in federal prison called RDAP, Residential Drug Abuse Program, because I had honestly, during my first sentence, fought with addiction multiple times during my incarceration, and I knew that I stood no chance of staying free if I got out still in a state of active addiction. So I was trying to learn all the tips that I could. That program was insane. It was very, very cult-like. They had inmates telling on each other, and it was required. I ended up getting in trouble in the program for not ever telling on anybody. You had to do these things called pull-ups, where you call out other community members. But anyway, so I transferred to another prison. A lot of people will know I did most of my first sentence at Talladega FCI, the prison next door to the minimum security one that Kyle from FPS Russia PKA podcast, the one next door to him. I was at the medium high. Anyways, I finished my sentence at Marianna, Florida. So I had never really been to Florida before except for like a beach trip or two with my dad. I was unaware that the flora and fauna there are all trying to kill you, and that most of the people there are probably at least a little bit legally insane. But I got out into a very, very hot, humid day. I woke up at midnight as it turned to September 7th of 2017. I woke up at midnight knowing that I still had about 8 more hours until they came and unlocked the door. I paced that cell about 15,000 times, because when I woke up at midnight, it was over with. I was like, it's technically today. We didn't have a clock back there, so you have to wait on COs to come make their rounds. He knock on the door and say, hey man, what time is it, boss man? And they'll tell you, and he was like, it's about midnight. And I was like, whew, okay, today is allegedly the day. I cannot describe to you how much your brain will not let you realize or believe that you're actually leaving. I'm sitting there thinking I'm going to get indicted on some stupid stuff I did when I was a teenager, or they took away my halfway house time, because I actually had 5 months of halfway house time that I was granted. So I was being released to a halfway house, and I was thinking, you know, they're going to mess it up, and I'm not going to be able to go to the halfway house and have to stay in prison another 5 months. This is crazy. And I was in the shoe. That's why I said I got in trouble earlier. They would have transferred me to another prison because of the trouble that I got in, but because of how little time I had left, they basically just made me stay in solitary confinement, the shoe. It's not super solitary confinement because you have a cellmate, but it's still pretty madness inducing. But my cellmate woke up at about 3. I had like 2 cups of coffee left, so I gave him one and I drank one, and I was like, this is it, man. I sat there pacing the floor. He was like, wake me up when it's time, man. My brain didn't let me believe that I was going to go. Now, the original plan was for my mother to come pick me up on this day, but I had just found out at this time through a letter that she actually had cancer and that she had to undergo surgery the day after my release. She had to spend the day prior in the hospital cleansing herself out and stuff like that, getting ready for a major surgery to beat cancer. Luckily, she pulled through. She's actually gotten cancer again since then, and once again successfully beaten it. All the surgeries have been amazing. Her doctors have been huge. The oncologists knew exactly what they were doing. They gave her proper treatments, quick surgery. It's been amazing as far as if your family member has to have cancer, it went as well as it can possibly go, you know? But so instead of my mom coming to get me, my grandparents came to pick me up. And I love my grandparents very, very much. I'm very close to my grandfather. And after they passed out the breakfast trays, they came around to pick up the trays. They opened the door, and I leaned down the hole. I was like, hey man, excuse me, sir. Have you heard anything about my release? Do you know if they're going to let me out today? Do you know about I'm supposed to transfer to halfway house? And let me tell you, those dudes love messing with you more than anybody on the face of this earth. I might as well have asked, like, I might as well have asked, like, Daniel Tosh or something. Like, the way that they smirk and they just, like, pick at you and they just talk shit to your face, you know? He's like, I don't know, man. That's not my shift. I haven't heard anything about that, man. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think we have any releases scheduled for today. What do you mean? So of course now I'm over here having like a full-fledged panic attack. I already had all of my meager possessions in the world bundled up. I had some songs that I wrote and some chord progressions that I drew out like from theory and stuff like that. My little notebooks and stuff all bundled up and tied up in a sheet for me to bring with me. I had a little bit more property in the front of the prison, which was the other songs that I've written that are over here in the corner of my room, like 160 something songs that I wrote while I was incarcerated. All of my possessions in the world, basically, except for a few musical instruments I still had at my mom's house. Finally, after they picked up the trays, I heard somebody way down the hallway where the CO's station is say, Palant. Very common mispronunciation of my last name. I'm like, Chris, I think they said Palant, dude. I think they said Palant. I'm telling my cellmate, dude, I think they're about to come get me, man. I think they're about to come get me. And I hear the keys jingling. They're coming walking down the hallway. And I'm like, here we go. They popped up in my window and said, Palant. And I'm like, yeah. Pack up your shit, man. It's time to go. I said, man, I'm packed, bro. Let's go, man. I'm packed up, dude. I'm ready. You can pop this door right now, dog. I'm ready, man. I'm ready. Let's go. Yes. Needless to say, he decided to make me suffer a little bit. He was like, no, we're not ready yet. Hang on, I gotta get the cuffs. The dude's got like 4 pairs of handcuffs hanging off of his belt. But anyways, so they go down, they regroup. They come up about 5 minutes later. I'm standing there hopping on both feet, hopping one foot to the other with my little bag and stuff like that. And I'm telling Chris, man, I got you, dog. One thing that really bums me out is Chris wrote me down a list of people he wanted me to get in contact with and let them know stuff about his prison sentence and what was going on with him and whether or not he needed help, etc. People to get in touch with him. And I accidentally put some of that stuff in the wrong bag whenever we split up at the halfway house. And I was very, very sad about it. I didn't have his information. You're not allowed to write letters to prison from the halfway house. So they put the handcuffs on me. I pick up my little bag. I gave Chris a hug, I was like, dog, man, much love, bro. I've been friends with him for like a year now, I was like, man, take it easy, bro. Keep your head up. He had a few months left. He's out now. Take it easy, man. I'll catch you on the other side of this razor wire one day, man. We'll meet up one day, man. And they opened the door and they pulled me out. And even though I'm being released, they had me handcuffed up, chained up, and they're holding on to my shirt like this, I was on the top floor of the cells in the SHU. So as we're going to leave, we're coming close to the staircase, and I'll never be able to describe the feeling. I'm sorry. I cannot describe the feeling. I got dizzy. I got really, really dizzy, like point of almost hyperventilating dizzy. I guess it was just excitement and disbelief and dopamine flooding my brain, dude. But when we got to the top of the stairs, I asked the CO to stop for a second. I was like, sir, I think I'm gonna fall down. Can you please stop for 1 second and let me catch my breath for a second? He's like, come on, man, quit acting stupid, man. Come on, man, And they made me walk down these stairs, and I had to walk so carefully because I was just so dizzy, guys. I couldn't believe it. It had been 5 years. It had been over a fifth of my life that I'd spent locked up, and I was walking towards the entrance now, So my mom had mailed me a little outfit of clothes. There was some like navy blue Converse and a Mountain Dew shirt that I liked a lot, and some blue jeans, which felt very, very strange. I had not felt jeans in a long time. They felt very sandpapery and rough compared to the cheap, thin fabric of the prison khaki clothes that you're issued. I put on my clothes. I waited. They checked my paperwork, told me to go up front. I handed him a piece of paper. The cop looked at it. He looked at me. He looked at the paper. He looked at me. And I could see the disgust in his eyes. He was like, terrorist threats. This chump right here. And he closed the file. He has nothing he can say to me, though. He has nothing he can say. What are you going to tell me, bro? What are you going to tell me? Talk shit all you want, bro. I'm out of here. It's over with. I'm done, man. You can't tell me a damn thing in this world. He closed the file and he goes, take it easy, man. So I walked outside. And luckily for me, my grandmother was trying to film this, my granddie. And she had the camera facing towards her. So she didn't get the entire me leaving. But I walked outside into the sunshine that I had not directly felt without some kind of razor wire impeding it or razor wire around me in 5 years. I was 24 years old, and I was outside of razor wire without shackles on for the first time since 2012. It was now 2017. I'm walking out with my bags, my little songs, my Mountain Dew shirt on, and I could just feel it was just swelling up inside of me that I was actually done. I was actually through with prison. I was actually leaving. It was finally over. The nightmare had come to an end. I had actually survived it. I didn't get stabbed. I didn't die. I didn't get involved in any gangs. I didn't get it. Nothing. I had made it. It was over with. And after about 5 seconds after I walked outside of that door, I absolutely roared at the top of my lungs in a way that I don't think most people will ever express this amount of joy. A lot of guys get out of prison and they're just walking like this out here, man. But I screamed when I got outside of that door. I was so happy. I just clenched my whole body up and I was just Super Saiyan, man, Super Saiyan. A lieutenant was passing by me on his way to work and told me, calm down, man, calm down. I don't know. But anyways, ran and gave my grandfather a hug, man, and I'm jumping up and down, and he hands me an iPhone, which I'd maybe held once in my entire life, you know, and my mom was on FaceTime, and we're talking and stuff like that, and she sent me a Giphy of Pikachu jumping up and down, and I'm sitting there like, this is crazy. You can just send people gifts on your phone in the chat. You don't have to click it, download it, nothing. It just pops up as a moving picture right there on your screen. That's wild. And then like somebody like liked it or hearted it or something. And I'm like, what is this? What is going on? Like I've barely ever held a touchscreen smartphone. Maybe once or twice in my life to use a call one of my friends had. When I got arrested, I had a scroll ball BlackBerry, if that tells you anything. I was extremely anxious. Like I didn't know. The cars were freaking me out. We were moving super, super fast. I had barely moved past walking speed in 5 years except for one transfer to another prison. You know, like it was very, very rare that I ever got in a vehicle when I was in prison. Went years at a time without getting on one. So we're going like 55 and I'm over here like, so we go to, we're on our way from Marianna, Florida to Tupelo, Mississippi, which is the halfway house that I went to both times I got out of prison. I'll get to the second time I got out of prison on another day, guys. For today, we're talking about the first time I got out when I did the long sentence. So we're going to Tupelo, and we stopped in, I guess it was Birmingham, Alabama, to meet some of my family members so we could all go out to get food. It was my choice of food. I picked an Asian buffet because sushi is my favorite food in the world. So I picked sushi. One of my uncles apparently was not very happy about this. He was grumbling about it under his breath. All the food in Birmingham, and you would pick some sushi on your first day out of prison. Well, you know, most of my family doesn't like sushi, needless to say. I kind of feel bad admitting it. Like, I love my family, dude. And the ones that showed up there, you know, they're great. I was never ultra close with them. But I kind of just would have preferred if it was just me and my grandparents. You know, apparently my mom told my grandfather this, but it was just too much on my first day out. You know, it was just like all this attention on me and like, I don't know how to put it, man. It's like I was happy to see them, but at the same time, I was kind of like, you know, once again, no offense. I understand what it's like to be inside, and I understand, you know, families get disconnected and stuff. But these people didn't write me letters, you know. They weren't trying to mess with me. They weren't really, you know, trying to keep me supported in there and send me love and emotions, you know. And then all of a sudden, they all show up on the day that I get out, and everybody's happy. And like, I have nothing against them, guys. I'm not complaining here. It's just that's what contributed to my feeling of strangeness, and it felt off, you know. It was just like being the center of attention all of a sudden, from being inside where you're just like an animal in a cage, an animal in the jungle, to being, you know, the center of attention. How you feeling, man? You know. And then I was ashamed because this is like a good little section of my family here that I was, you know, I'm the only one in my family that's been to jail or prison. You know, they did their best to make me feel happy and comfortable when we chatted about it, and you know, it was a good enough time. So we get to the halfway house. And I have an aunt and an uncle that I'm a little bit closer with, which is my grandfather's daughter and her husband. And he's, you know, my aunt's there, and they've got, I love them to death, but they got kids look like chickens running around. Like I think they had 4 or 5 kids at this point, and they brought the squad, and they had to meet us at the halfway house. And this is my first time going to this halfway house. When I pulled up, I got my grandfather, my granddee, my aunt, my uncle, and like 4 of the kids. Like it was like 8 or 9 people riding up to the front door of the halfway house with me. This is a very good thing, guys. I'm not complaining about this. It's funny to me because it's a good problem to have. Many guys show up at that halfway house off of a prison bus, out of a prison taxi that, you know, they had to pay for with no family there, and the only clothes that they have are the gray sweatshirts and sweatpants that they sell on the prison commissary. I'm not complaining about this. It's just funny to me because when we walked in the front door, all the employees at the halfway house are like, is this a circus? My grandfather gave me some spending money, and I was just walking around in awe. And I got to know some of the staff at the halfway house, which a lot of inmates still like to regard them as though they're COs or whatever, but those people there try their best to make sure that we're gonna act right, walk a straight and narrow, have a good paying job, get our stuff in order. You have to save money while you're there. They're very good people there. A lot of inmates, you know, if you're tight with the people that work there, they're like, oh man, that's crazy. Like they're not COs, everybody's still in that prison mindset. The people there were amazing. They were very, very caring, very compassionate, and being treated like a human for the first time in 5 years almost brought tears to my eyes. I mean, they try to give you good food. They want to help you. They ask you questions about your day. They're not angry at you all the time. They don't immediately pat you down every time that you look at them. You know, they don't kick at you and tell you to get out of here and call you names because they know you can't do anything. They treat you like a person. And that made such an insane difference in my psyche in a very, very short period of time to finally, once again, not be treated like an animal in a cage, but to actually be treated as a human being with respect was one of the most astounding differences. So I had a $50 Alcatel touchscreen before. I've never sent a text on a touchscreen. Smartphones up to a certain point in time weren't allowed at halfway houses because a lot of criminals use them to do crime, but they finally decided that it was just too much of an inconvenience for us to not have them, and they were now allowed. Just in case, my mom bought me a $50 touchscreen phone instead of like a nicer one, you know, just in case they told me I couldn't have it, we'd go get another one. So I'm sitting here trying to learn how to text on this thing. You know, I'm sitting here chicken pecking like I don't know how to text on this thing at all. I'm trying to download Facebook, which is against the rules of the halfway house. They took away all my cigarettes because we weren't allowed to have cigarettes there at the time. This is before I quit smoking, and I was on a 30-day lockdown period because I was a high-risk case. Now, my crime, some judges consider it violent, some judges don't. Either way, it was considered violent enough that they notified the state of Mississippi, I guess a governor and some kind of crime guy or something like that, that I was getting out, and I wasn't allowed to leave the halfway house for 30 days. I had to sit there and be on good behavior, and they let me get my guitar up there. I would go outside and play guitar every day. I recorded some demos that are on my SoundCloud, as a matter of fact. While I was at the halfway house, I recorded the demos for I Don't Regret a Thing and Where Are You, both in the hallways of that halfway house, recording and resetting and deleting and starting over again every single time that somebody opened a door or shouted, "Hey, Pookie," or whatever was going on, painstakingly doing it because it was something that I love to do. I will never be able to describe to you guys the day that I got out of prison. It's a feeling that is like the only thing that was actually better in my entire life that I can really say is like marrying my wife and the day that my daughter was born. I mean, they're just the shining pinnacle days of my life. You know, I'll never forget it. And getting out the second time was equally as sweet because of the fact that I went to Karis and that I had a wife and that, or well, I mean, she was my fiance at the time, that I knew, this time I knew I had the confidence in me to know that I wasn't going back. The first time that I got out, to be 100% honest with you guys, I had a very strong feeling that I was going to violate my probation. I didn't know whether or not the judge would send me back to prison. I didn't know it was going to be the same judge. If I'd have known I was going back before the same judge for violating my probation, I would have known already I'm going back to prison if I mess up. But I just wasn't internally ready, despite the fact that I was no longer negative and in a cesspool mind of like everybody's out to get me. I had overcome that. I was working towards making my life better, but at the same time, I knew I didn't have what it takes yet to stay off of drugs and stop drinking. I knew that. I knew that inside of my heart. I wasn't done with it yet. It wasn't until I got out the second time that I was totally finished with it. I guess this is a little different of a Tales from the Jungle because this is the Tales from the Jungle, like moving from the jungle into society. But 2017 was buck wild. It was a miniature version of 2020, I guess. It was a lot the same in my opinion so far. Everybody hates everybody who doesn't agree with their opinion. Everybody wants the other side to die. Nobody seeks any compromise. Everybody sees things in black and white. You either want to build a wall and keep everybody out and say screw them and hope they all die, or you want no borders and everybody cross everywhere and you know, free love all across the world. Everybody sees it as those two polar opposites. Nobody has any compromise or like, you know, we can take ideas from both here. It's you disagree with me, you're a fucking Republican, you're a fucking Democrat, fuck you, I hope both of you die, I hope you die, I hope you die, I hope your family dies. Like, it's crazy out here now. Technology is insane. The day that I met my wife's family, my brother-in-law, Tyler, actually hooked up his computer so I could try virtual reality, which was insane, and also what I've been waiting on my entire life because I've been a video gamer my entire life. Haircuts are weird. Everybody still says I have a 2012 haircut. I don't care. I don't like these, you know, shaved short on the side, swooped up to the top, frosted tip. I don't know how to put it. I'm still not down with it, y'all. I mean, I'm getting there. I've been trying to keep my hair a little more trimmed, and it's starting to look more natural to me, these other people. I'm getting used to it, I guess. Everybody was salted bay lit fam. Oh yeah, like how you can't say for real anymore. Now if you're serious, you gotta say for real twice. You gotta say for real. No cap, dead ass. Learning the lingo of this age was very, very strange for me. People commented on my earlier videos about how I still said dude's a beast and stuff like that, but I've heard people say that. I mean, look at Mr. Beast, you know, same thing. Anyways, guys, I won't wait too long on with this video because it was a great day of my life. I mean, it was one of the pinnacles of my entire life, you know, finally being released from that hellhole, man. It was a glow that I will never be able to describe to you. This just anything is possible explosion of joy and happiness and just, man, I was glowing, dude. You have the glow is what they say when you get out of prison. You have a glow. Everywhere that you go, people look at you and are like, damn, what's up with that guy? He's just smiling and smooth and happy and feeling good, you know? It was something, man. Links down below. Sorry the video's so late today. It's been a stressful day, man. And my daughter's been crying a lot today, and we've been trying to get it figured out. Not sure if I'll be on Twitch tomorrow. I'm probably going to be late. I got a doctor's appointment in Oxford, Mississippi. We'll see how that goes. But I love you guys, man. Follow me on the tweet. Follow me on the Insta. I'll follow back for all that. Check us out on Twitch, man. Twitch.tv/JPalalt. Live Tuesday through Saturday. Always doing crazy stuff. Come hang out. Even if you don't play RuneScape or whatever game I'm playing on Saturday, man, just come kick it with us, dude. I'm there to chat and tell stories like this or whatever, man. We're all hanging out. I'm a professional hangouter, you know. Love you guys, man. Y'all have a beautiful week. I will see y'all again next week if you don't come to Twitch. And either way, stay safe, stay free, most importantly, stay healthy. I totally messed that up that time. Tales from the Jungle number 12. See y'all next week.